was the last time that you actually felt done at the end of the day? And when I say that, I don't mean with everything that was on your list. I don't mean that you're ahead for tomorrow. I mean done. Most teachers that I talk to, and I really do mean most, when I talk to them about this, they do not feel like they're done at the end of the day. What they actually feel like is they feel like they've been put on pause. And it's like they're caught up in a video that never actually comes to an end. And they're just waiting for the moment that they can press play again. But the problem with a paused video, as many of you know, is when you try to restart a paused video, it doesn't exactly start right away. It kind of glitches and sometimes it gets stuck and then it takes off. What I'm going to show you in this video is how to discover the power of enough. And I want to tell you up front that I'm not sharing this with you, just willy-nilly or just off the cuff. This is something that comes directly from experience. It's not abstract theory. It's practical. It's something that you can actually see, and it's something that you can actually use starting today. But before we get into that, I just want to point out that I spent nearly 2 decades in education. And I have watched some of the world's most talented teachers, deeply called teachers, and incredibly committed teachers. I have watched them slowly burn out. And here's the thing. This is what gets me. It's not because they didn't care enough. It's not because they weren't working hard enough. It's not because they weren't dedicated enough. The reason why teachers burn out is because nobody ever told them where the finish line was. Nobody ever told them about the power of enough. So let's talk about the real problem. Because if we don't diagnose the problem correctly, we'll keep trying to solve a problem, and it's the wrong problem. So stay with me till the end, because I have a little something I want to make sure you have the opportunity to get. It's already over there in the chat, and it's going to make life much, much better for you. All of our free stuff is down in the description box, or you can get it right there on the screen at the QR code. I want to encourage you to do that. Most teachers don't work just one job. They're working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then they go home. And they have to work from the time that they get home, some of them, till the time that they go to bed. As you all know, because you're teachers, we're upgrading. There's emails, there's lesson prep, there's parent communication. There's just one more thing, and that one more thing seems to somehow turn into another hour and a half worth of stuff. And eventually, when you get to sit down at night, you think, I'm just going to catch up. I'm just going to do a little bit. But you never do. And here's why. Because when there's no clear finish line, your work will never end, because you do not know when enough is enough. Now, I want you to think about that for just a minute. If nobody ever told you where the finish line was or what the finish line looks like, how would you ever know if you have done enough? Because you can't reach a destination that has not been defined. And what happens is, when you don't know where the finish line is, you do what any other reasonable person would do. You begin to work harder. You begin to work later. You begin to get up earlier. You tell yourself that this weekend I'm going to catch up, and this weekend I'm going to get ahead. And then the weekend comes and it doesn't happen. And so we turn around, and then we come to Sunday evening. And then we get what's called the Sunday Scaries. If you know what the Sunday Scaries are, go ahead and drop us a comment and tell us your experience with them. But the Sunday Scaries is that low-grade feeling that you get in your chest, the feeling of dread that lays heavy on your chest and also in your stomach, because you're thinking about all the things that you got to do tomorrow. I want you to know that's not a character flaw. That's not laziness. That is what happens to any human being who runs a race without a finish line. You can't work without knowing where the finish line is. Now, here's what the scripture says. As you know, we are a faith-forward organization, and our core verse comes from Proverbs chapter 4, verse number 23, that says, above all else, guard your heart, for from it flows everything in your life. Your patience with your students flows from your heart. Your creativity in the classroom flows from your heart. Your presence at home with your family flows from your heart. And when your work never ends, the mind never gets settled. And when your mind never gets settled and never gets to rest, your heart does not get to rest. And when your heart runs on empty, everything you do flows from a place of emptiness. And so this is not just a workload problem. This is a heart problem. And I have a feeling that some of that's beginning to hit home for some of you. And that's why I created a resource for you. It's called Reclaim Your Limits. You can get it right there at the QR code, or it's down in the description boxes. As a matter of fact, there's all kinds of free stuff. If you go down the description box, you'll see it. It says all the free stuff talked about in this video. You can get it right there. So jump down there and make sure you grab the free stuff, or get it there at the QR code, wherever it is that you want to get it. And get some things going on that'll help protect you right there. And so here's what's actually happening every single day inside our brains. We go in, we sit down at work, we've got 25 things on our to-do list, and our brain is doing something in the background. It's running like these apps, like our phone. We're looking at one app, but there's all these other apps working in the background. And the entire time, it's shooting questions through our brain. Questions like, should I stop? Is this enough? Can I stop now? Or should I do one more thing? And every single minute those questions are running, it is creating a problem for us mentally. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Every decision, even micro decisions of, should I keep going, or should I stop? Or should I do this? It costs energy. It drains energy from your brain and from your body. And when you do not have a defined stopping point, your brain never gets to stop taking action and stop making decisions. Even if you go home, even if you sit on the couch, and even if you doom scroll, if you bring home work in your brain, thinking about all the things that took place during the day, you are not recovering and you are not resting. And so now, all on your own, the system, meaning the education system, has so trained us that the brain is enforcing the rule of the system on us, even while we're not there. The truth is, you're not failing. Teachers aren't failing. But we are working in a system that is designed in such a way to where the individual, you can't win because you can't find the finish line. That's the reason why I created the Power of Enough, because understanding this is extraordinarily important. But understanding it is not the same as having a way to actually change it. Maybe you've been asking yourself, how do I get everything done? And that's a really good question as a teacher, because we have an unbelievable amount of work that has to get done. But what if that's the wrong question? What if instead of asking, how do I finish everything, we started asking, what would be enough for today? When you ask, how do I finish everything? There's always more work to do. It has become my experience as a teacher that it is impossible to get everything done. That there's never a time when all the work is done. It's always there. But when you ask, what would be enough for today, suddenly the game kind of changes, and there is a way that you can win at the game. And I want to give you a definition of enough. And it's probably different than what you're thinking, because enough is about doing less. Enough is about doing what's necessary, what is meaningful, and what is sustainable. If what you're doing, if the things that you're doing throughout the day, if they fit into those three categories, then you are going to do enough. If it does not fit into those three categories, then it can simply wait, or you can discard it. That's exactly what we need to do with some things as teachers. There are some things that we're doing that do not profit us anything. We do them out of habit, or we do them because somebody told us that we needed to do it, or we do them because we think that that's what a good teacher does. But if they're not necessary, meaningful, and sustainable, then they got to get gone. That's not laziness. That's wisdom. That's not giving up on your students. It's guarding your heart so that you can give the best of you to your students. Not because everything's done, but because you know with clarity that you did enough. That's the power of enough, is it brings clarity. Let me show you 5 shifts that you can make. These are mindset shifts. And they begin to move you out of that constant feeling of being behind. And I want to be very clear before I go through these. I'm not going to walk you through the full system, because the difference between hearing these and actually applying them is where most teachers get stuck. You can hear these every day of the week, but that doesn't enable you to apply them. That's what the Power of Enough guide workbook does. That's what it's designed to do. But I want you to see these shifts, because once you see them, you can't unsee them. The very first shift that we have to make is we have to stop letting our day decide what matters, and we start to decide ahead of time what matters. Most teachers don't realize how much of their day is reactive. Things come at you and you respond. Then something else comes at you and you respond again. And by the end of the day, you've been so busy the entire time, but you're not always sure that you actually accomplished anything. Nothing actually went forward. Nothing actually mattered. And this shift change, it moves you from reacting to deciding. Shift number 2 is create a hard stop, an actual stopping point for your day. Most of us have a vague idea. It's not when everything's done, but define a real boundary and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is my starting point. This is my ending point. And that's where things are going to begin to feel uncomfortable, because that is the hardest part. I talk to teachers every single day, and every single teacher almost always says, I can't just stop because I have so much to do. I have to do this work. The idea of not being done with everything feels wrong at first. And that's part of what makes this part so hard. This is the thing that every teacher I work with, almost every teacher, struggles with. I can't just walk away because I got to do it. If I don't do it, then all these things are going to happen. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I can just tell you that I did it, and all those things didn't happen to me. Shift number 3 is you begin to recognize how much of your workload is not actually required. There's a lot of hidden or invisible things that we're doing. And that's the hard realization of a lot of people, because it's not about blaming yourself. It's about becoming more aware. There are things that you and I do right now that have taken on overtime and which caused us to have all kinds of turmoil in our life. But were they really required? You see, that's the question. Making hard decisions about what is actually required. And once you start to see clearly, you realize that you've been doing things that don't make any sense. They don't matter. We just do them for the sake of doing them. And most people can't see that. Most of us can't see. I couldn't see that. That's why I ended up in a coaching relationship for well over 3 years. Because I got myself into that point because I thought that I had to do everything. I thought that I had to start work at 6 a.m. and work and nearly until midnight every day of the week. And that's one of the things that I help walk teachers through inside the power of it, the power of enough. Because it's hard to identify when you're in the middle of it. As a matter of fact, you can't see it at all. Shift number 4 is you prepare for what happens internally when you stop. And we made a little bit of an allusion to this because here's the thing that I can promise you. The moment that you start doing things differently, you're going to get pushback. Some of that pushback is going to be external. It's going to come from the people around you. But most of that pushback is going to come from you. It's going to come from the voice that keeps telling you that you got to keep going. The voice that says you haven't done enough. The voice that says you should do more. The voice that says everybody else is doing this. The voice that says this is just what it means to be a teacher. You see, this shift, preparing for what happens to you internally, is about helping you get ready for the moment that it happens, and so that you're not reacting to it when it shows up. Instead, you're ready. Shift number 5, you have to change how you define a successful day. Because if your definition of success does not have an endpoint, you will always feel unsuccessful. If success always means that everything is done, then success will always be out of reach. This shift changes that. It gives you a way to know that the end of the day has come and that whatever it is that you have done, it is enough. It's the power of enough, the power of doing enough, and how it can transform your life as a teacher inside the class. And the power of enough helps guard our heart, because everything that we do flows from our heart. If our heart is empty, we're empty. If our heart is bitter, we are bitter. If our heart is overworked, we're overworked. Now, here's what I want you to notice. Not a single one of these shifts are about working harder. Not one of them. Not one of them is about doing more. And none of them require you to become a different kind of teacher, but they are about operating differently inside the same reality that you're already in. They're about making different decisions, setting different boundaries, and protecting what matters the most. And when these shifts come together, something changes. Not all at once necessarily, and definitely not everything all at once, but something important changes. And here's what changes. You can actually be done for the day because you've done enough. It's the power of enough. Those things go a long ways towards keeping not just our body and our body from breaking down, but to go a long ways towards keeping our mind from becoming overwhelmed. And that is a big deal. And that is the very thing that got me. And it took me almost 3 years to get out of that shape. And so now I help teachers just like you, teachers all over the world that struggle. That's what I love to do, is to help teachers. I want you to stay strong and keep teaching.